Hi, this is Chris Slogar. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and you can find me online at buckeyeinklings.com. I post a lot of ideas there, and there is also a link to the online store, so if you need any of the products that you see in my videos, certainly you can shop there to find them. But let me show you today, I want to show you this triangle flap card. Now, I posted this version before. We did this in Club in July. We were doing Christmas in July. And you can see there's an insert piece that pulls out, and then it's sort of like a pocket. So I had some questions on the construction of this, so I want to get back to that. On this version, we used products that were available in the annual catalog at that time. We used the Foxy Friends stamp set to create this cute little reindeer. And then the paper is the holiday paper that's in the annual catalog. It's called This Christmas, and it's very efficient. It's a thinner designer paper. It's two-sided, and you get 24 sheets for $13. So you get 4 each of 6 double-sided papers instead of our typical packs of the thicker paper are 2 sheets of each of 6 designs, so a total of 12. So anyway, if you're making a lot of cards and using this for layering, that's really great. That's a good bargain for that. So I'm going to set that aside because I remade the card to show you some products from the holiday catalog that's now available. I am using in this version Real Red and the Candy Cane Lane designer paper. And then this is the little gingerbread man from Cookie Cutter Christmas. That is my favorite new bundle. It has all of these images and this fabulous coordinating builder punch. And like, if that wasn't enough, you can also get Cookie Cutter Halloween, which has these fabulous little guys for fall. So they also fit the punch. So super fun. I've just been playing with this the most of everything that I got in my pre-order. So I thought it only appropriate that I make the card with the gingerbread man from that. So, and I'm not sure if I mentioned the other stamps are from the set that coordinates with the Candy Cane Lane paper called, the stamp set is called Candy Cane Christmas, also in the holiday catalog. So the important thing is for us to learn the base. So obviously you're going to pick your favorite stamps and papers to decorate with when you get to it. But let me show you how to make that triangle flap base. Okay, so I have 2 pieces of Real Red cardstock already prepared. The first one is 4 1/4 by 11 inches. Scored at 5 1/2, so that's like our regular card base. Okay, and then the second piece is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and it's already scored here at 3/4. Okay, these are the 2 pieces we need to make the base, and we'll start with the big one. Now, as you can see, we're going to have some angled diagonal cuts. And from this base piece, all you need to do to make the first one is place the corner of that score right in the groove of your trimmer, and the bottom corner of the card base also in the groove of the trimmer. Okay, and then we're going to use the cutting blade and make that diagonal cut. Okay, so just like that, you've already got the first part of that card base ready. Now, the second piece, and I've got that scored already at 3/4 here, so this front needs to also be trimmed into a triangular shape. So we're going to cut a diagonal from this score to this corner point. So you just put those right in the groove of your trimmer, and I like to make sure to cut from the solid side down to the little pointy side no matter what I'm doing, just so I don't damage the point if I go the opposite way. Okay, so right there you've got the card base. Now, some folks prefer to have the entire back of the card covered with the same real red. I find that a little bit wasteful and a little bit harder to assemble, and I really don't mind having this seam on the back of the card. I think it's barely noticeable, and it just makes life easier. So I'm going to show you that way. If you prefer, you could have a full back instead of this little flap. Okay. Oh, well, I've got the trimmer here. I'm also going to take the designer paper, and we've got a piece that is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we also need to cut this on the diagonal. Now, I picked a really obvious pattern because I want to show you that it matters. Okay, if you cut this paper from this corner to this corner, you will end up with a piece like mine that will lay here. And the other piece flips right over and becomes your other corner. Now, if you cut the opposite direction from this corner to this corner, you cannot have a piece that will lay on the right side. You will not have this dark pattern on the right side if you cut here. You will only be able to have that dark piece on the left side, which may be fine. But I just want to make the point that it matters and you should plan this ahead of time. So, ask me how I know. Alright, now in this case, you do have to cut right into one of those points, and just very simply from end to end in the track, and you've got these two pieces now. You're going to flip one, and that's how you have the front. Okay, so now to assemble this, we'll go through this, and then the rest of the decorating we'll just do pretty quickly. I'm going to put together the base first. I like to use Tombow liquid glue. It gives you a little wiggle room. So I'm going to take these pieces and put that flap on the back of the card. Line that up. Fold that over, and with the liquid glue you get a little time if you need to put that into place. Okay, so there's the front of the card, and I'm just going to turn that over so that it's easy to apply these triangular pieces. Okay, so here's the darker flap, and again, if you use the liquid glue, it does give you some slip time, so you can get that aligned nicely. Okay, that'll be the front. Okay, and we've got those in place. So now I do like to seal up this bottom edge so that it's like a little pocket, and all I'm going to do there is apply a thin line right along the bottom. Fold that over. Thin line of glue again along this bottom edge, and fold that over. Okay, and that's all there is to that base. Let's hold that down a sec. Okay, so now to make the insert, I have a piece of crumb cake that measures 5 by 3 3/4. And I've just corner rounded the top. So I'm taking the Project Life punch and use that punch upside down so you can kind of see that you're symmetric when you're punching, and you'll get nice round corners. And I have a piece of Whisper White that is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2 to fit that. And I'm going to corner around those top edges as well. Okay, so I won't go through all the stamping. These are stamps from the Candy Cane Christmas set. I've just used the stripe there and a couple of the fun little candy cane and star pieces. And the Christmas tree I punched with a 1-inch punch and then a red border piece that was a 1 1/4 inch circle punch. Okay, so that is that for the insert. Now I'd like to show you a little trick for stamping to get a really nice dark image on the gingerbread man. So I'm going to set this aside and grab my early espresso. And because this is a big solid photopolymer stamp, you'll want to stamp against a foam mat so that you get really good contact of all the parts of that stamp. And we are not stamping on Whisper White, so this is going to be more difficult to get a good image. Okay, Whisper White is really smooth and it's easy to get a perfect image on Whisper White. This crumb cake cardstock that we're stamping on is a little bit, I like to say, thirstier, and it's rougher. So I am using a pad that is not super juicy because I don't want to lose the detail on the gingerbread man's face. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink that stamp up and put it down and then mark the position with my Stamp-O-Majig, okay? Because I'm quite sure that I am not going to be happy with the darkness of my gingerbread man. And sure enough, that is true. So since I've marked that position, I'm just going to re-ink my stamp and stamp again. Okay, and that is nice and dark now. If you ever have trouble stamping on the cardstock, you know, just keep in mind you may need to go over it twice because it is rougher than the Whisper White. The Whisper White stamps beautifully because it is so smooth. Okay, so for this design, I'm just going to punch out my gingerbread man. And what I did for my frosting, I pulled out my white gel pen. I know we don't carry these anymore, but I'm sure you probably have one. And I touched up his features like frosting with the white gel pen. Like there. And what I'm going to do is take that base we created, and I've got the sticky strip here, the tear and tape, and I'm just going to put a little length down here where I want the ribbon to start and stop. And I will have the edge hidden under my gingerbread man, so I'm just going to kind of start that and wrap this around and meet and trim away the excess. Okay, and then for my gingerbread man, oops, got a little fleck there. I am going to take my dimensionals, and I don't like to stick to the ribbon, so I'm going to put one on his head, and then let's see, let me get in here and get a half. I'm going to put some halves on his legs so that they miss the ribbon. And I'm just going to cover up that seam with my gingerbread man. And there you have it. Okay, of course you'll finish making this as you like it so that you have a nice insert. Alright, so that is the triangle flap fold. Super easy. Don't be afraid to cut those diagonals. Just line up the start and end point in your track and you'll be fine. Okay, thanks so much. Have a great day.